What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. As we all know, yesterday we got the big bomb dropped on us. The crowdfunding project for Dungeon Defenders Awakened was announced. Now, as a big fan of the Dungeon Defenders franchise in a whole, DD1, DD2, I loved all of it. I am very excited to see this particular project grow and anxious to see exactly what it develops into. Now, I have gotten lots and lots of questions over the last 24 hours, and I wanted to kind of put together the top 6 frequently asked questions. These are ones that have just been asked over and over and over again, and obviously I want to get these questions and answers out to everyone, but also saving myself several hours of typing time by responding to each individually. So thank you all so much for submitting all the questions. As always, I will do my best to get the answers for you. And if you have any questions that aren't addressed here, make sure to let me know in the comments below. No guarantees, as we don't have all the info about what's going on quite yet. However, I will do my best to get you some straightforward answers. Now, first things first. What will happen to Dungeon Defenders 2, and will it be shut down? That's a real easy one. No, it's not going to be shut down. Dungeon Defenders 2 is not going away. It's still going to be there. It's still going to be free to play, and it's still going to be accessible whenever you want through the various sources that you play DD2 right now. So, in short, there is zero reason for you to stop playing Dungeon Defenders 2. There is only one reason why you should stop playing it, and that is, are you not having fun anymore? If you're enjoying Dungeon Defenders 2 and you're still having fun, it's not going anywhere, so keep on playing it and keep enjoying it and having a good time. Now, Alandrian did address this particular question specifically today on the Dungeon Defenders forums. It is Dungeon Defenders 2 will keep going. Development is going to slow down, but we still plan on maintaining limited updates and content. What do I mean by limited updates? We're going to be focused on smaller quality of life updates, bug fixes, improvements, and some occasional new cosmetics. When I say smaller quality of life, I mean in the development time aspect. We still plan on our quality of life features to be super impactful for players. We're going to be releasing an update soon on all platforms that will have a vendor where you can get the shards you've been looking for or looking to guild, a highly requested player feature. There's some extra morsels of dopeness in that update as well. Most of the changes are gameplay related. We're trying to make the fixes and improvements that everyone has been asking for. Supporting Dungeon Defenders 2 will still continue to support the team at Chromatic and support our ability to continue the patch and continue to patch and grow DD2. Our team is dedicated to figuring out how we can keep evolving the game in the right direction. We're going to keep making Dungeon Defenders 2 better and better, just as we've been committed to doing in the past. So no, Dungeon Defenders 2 is not shutting down. It is not going anywhere, and by all means, continue to play it. I know I will be. Now, just for a little of my personal opinion, I really do hope Trendy does, or pardon me, it's going to take me a year to quit saying trendy, I swear. But I do hope that Chromatic Games does something with Mastery Mode. As you look at the game rounded out as a whole right now, we've got one entire gameplay mode that has no replay value. It's one shot and done. If there was a different reward tier for Mastery and you had a reason to play it again, I personally would be a lot happier about where Dungeon Defenders 2 is right now. Now, obviously, there's lots of bugs and quality of life issues that need to be addressed, and hopefully, Chromatic is able to get that done. Now, moving right on along to the next big question is what happened to Trendy? Now, here's the deal. Now, this information is taken from various press releases, from the Gamma Sutra press release, and mainly from the local press release from the Gainsville newspaper. As, always check those local press releases, because a lot of times, being right down the road from where this is all taking place, you can talk to the people and find out exactly what's up. And a long story short, right here. Dungeon Defenders and Trendy Entertainment released Dungeon Defenders It was very successful. Within its first 2 weeks, way back in 2010, the game sold 250,000 copies. By the end of 2011, the game had sold more than 600,000 copies. I mean, that's pretty good numbers for an indie dev team, I would say. Now, this made Dungeon Defenders and Trendy a very profitable company. With this in mind, in 2012, a private equity firm, Insight Venture Partners, came in and bought out the majority control of the company. Now, as of recently and as of late, Augie Lee, the CEO of Trendy and one of the actual original founders, were able to buy that majority control back from the investment company. Now, I get a lot of questions about people feeling bad for Trendy and saying, you know, what's gone here? Is this some kind of a corporate takeover? Is it some kind of a huge buyout? And I explained it on stream today. It's actually the exact opposite of that. This is a superhero story. It's a story of the little guy came back, was able to reclaim what was rightfully his, and take control from there. So the right thing happened with the dev company of the Dungeon Defenders franchise. Now, in the process of that, although Augie is the owner of the company, he's off profit sharing program to the employees, which anyone that has worked at a company that offers profit sharing, a successful company, means successful employees. And this is going to help out everyone at Trendy overall. Now, with this in mind, everyone at Chromatic Games is in a much better state, and they're in charge of their own fate. They are the ones that are going to make or break the future of the Dungeon Defenders franchise. There's no more outside influence coming in and telling them do this, do that, or trying to direct the creative process of the game in any way, which is or was a factor in Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, moving right along to the next big enchilada, Dungeon Defenders Eternity. You all remember it. Dungeon Defenders Eternity was a bit of a train wreck. I actually played it for, I want to say like 500 to 1,000 hours. I enjoyed the game, but it was what it was, and you had to be very apparent at what it was. And Dungeon Defenders Eternity was definitely not successful. Alandrian piped in on Dungeon Defenders Eternity as well too, and let me give you that right here. I'm just going to begin by addressing the elephant in the room. Dungeon Defenders Eternity already happened. Isn't this just the same thing? The short answer is no. The long answer is hell no. Dungeon Defenders Eternity was a different product entirely. We have no plans to repeat history when it comes to that. We came up with Dungeon Defenders Awakened as our first smaller scope project as a new team. If we want to remain employee-owned and controlled, which is the dream, we needed to prove that we're the capable stewards and re-earn that trust before diving right into Dungeon Defenders 3, which we have so many sick plans for. That's right, we all heard it in that video. Dungeon Defenders 3 is gonna happen. Over the last several years, I've had people ask me if I thought Dungeon Defenders 3 would ever be a thing, and I've been saying for years that it is kind of the obvious choice, as it is, you know, the Dungeon Defenders franchise is rightfully and fully owned by one company, and we know for a fact that there are indeed plans in the future for Dungeon Defenders 3. Now, that still makes you ask again, what's the difference between Dungeon Defenders Awakened and Dungeon Defenders Eternity? And for those that remember the Dungeon Defenders Eternity setup, it was straight up testing the playverse system that's used in Dungeon Defenders 2. Really nothing else about it. It turned into a massive dumpster fire. Trendy learned from the mistakes, was able to get things dialed in as much as they could with Dungeon Defenders 2, and away they go. Now, Dungeon Defenders Awakened was originally planned for the Switch. It was planned to be a remastered Dungeon Defenders 1 to ship to the Switch. And later on, Chromatic decided that it was best to completely redo the game from the ground up, and using Unreal 4 gives them the development tools to be able to turn this into the same familiar game with a brand new feel. Now, I personally have straight up asked different Chromatic employees? Is there going to be anything else, or is it just DD1's material? And of course, it all depends on the funding. The more funding that Chromatic can get, the more chance of more content we're going to have. We all want to see heroes from Dungeon Defenders 2 in Dungeon Defenders Awakened. There's no doubt in my mind, eventually it will, but the game has to be successful first, and it all starts with that Kickstarter. Now this brings it around to why Kickstarter, and that one's really a pretty simple question to answer, as just with anything else you might imagine, a lot of games have a development company and a publishing company. When there's a publishing company that's separate from the development company, a lot of times that publisher is doing things like helping with the ports to get it over to a different platform. Chromatic wants to handle this all themselves for very good reasons, and one of the biggest would be publishers want their cut. So if Chromatic is going to be successful, they want to create the product. They want to be able to reap the rewards from creating a successful product, and there's no reason to spread that out to various publishing companies. Kickstarter helps Chromatic with production fees to get Dungeon Defenders Awakened going. That's 100% it. Basically, Kickstarter and crowdfunding is going to help provide the assistance that a publishing company would. While we're going to get our benefits up front, we know exactly what we're going to get as backers. We are not going to be taking away from Chromatic's profitability at the end of the day. Now, moving on along to another real easy one, as this one has been answered a bunch of times by the folks at Chromatic, is will it be free to play? No, this is a boxed retail game. It's like a conventional game. You buy the game, you have the game. Now, with that in mind, there will be no microtransactions. That's been repeated over and over and over again through all the Q&As on Quickstarter and the Trendy forums, or the Chromatic forums, once again. There will be no microtransactions. This is one of the biggest downfalls in DD2, having to spend the absurd amount of time to grind out a new hero, or you buy it with cash. What's the choices? So, of course, with enough gameplay time in DD2, you can unlock all those heroes for free. It sure is nice just to be able to pick it up and hit bank and make a new hero right away. So much awesomeness there. And then last but not least, when will the DD2 update come? No clue. Chromatic, Trendy, Elandrian, Lalta, all of the enchiladas have not given us any idea when the next update's going to hit. I still think it will probably, be at the latest in April. Hopefully it comes sometimes in March. We don't know at this point. We'll all be anxiously awaiting to hear the news from it. So that will do it for today. As I mentioned, let me know down in the comments below if there's any questions you have that I wasn't able to get answered, and absolutely no promises, as I do have to do quite a bit of homework to come up with the answers to some of these questions. However, I will do my best to get the answers for you. So thank you once again, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.